So,
Do you want to go ahead? Yeah.
well, it is really a great honor to be able to acknowledge Kathy Eisenhardt's contributions to the field. As Anne just indicated in her personal story, there are so many ways that we as individuals can tell about all the little ways that our personal work has been shaped and influenced, in all the little micro details of how we construct our arguments and how we respond to reviewers and all those kinds of things. I want to use my comments as a way to kind of tie across some of the different things we've heard, both from Tommy and Anne, and of course from Kathy's lovely presentation of her work, which I found incredibly inspirational and I got lots of ideas from. So let me start with the impact of her scholarship. And Tommy said she got 21,000 citations in ISI. If you look at Google Scholar, that case study paper actually has 26,000 citations of its own, which is quite a number. So you'd say that would be a lifetime achievement right there. You don't need to do more after that. But of course, she has 17 other papers that have more than 1,000 citations. So this is an extraordinary career that has continuously built on these ideas over time. I also note that she just received, yesterday or the day before, the Tim Distinguished Scholar Award. So the Academy is running out of awards to give to Kathy because she's so accomplished and touches so many different domains, including our own in strategy as practice, or strategizing and activities and whatever, SAP, whatever we call ourselves. So when you think about these papers that have been cited 1,000 times, they're on the topics that Kathy mentioned: dynamic capabilities, agency theory, product development, continuous change, strategic decisions, adaptive processes, strategic alliances. These are all incredibly salient and important topics in the field. But she gets cited not because we just like to cite things. She gets cited because her ideas are so powerful and important. And this power comes from something that Kathy talked about, which was the fact that she's sort of situated in a setting, Silicon Valley, with all of these companies who are concerned with a particular set of problems around how you make decisions in these very difficult environments and how you manage according, when you have high velocity and high technological change. And it's that care about those problems of those companies that leads to the quality of her work. And Kathy was talking about this crazy rigor and relevance debate that we're having in the field. And in fact, it's precisely because she cares about these companies and improving performance and helping them be effective and solving, as she described it, solving these puzzles that these companies were facing, that her work is relevant. There is no distinction. If you care that deeply about the problem, you will do rigorous research in order to get an answer. And so to me, that this is not an either or, and I think Kathy's work is an extraordinary example that all of us should follow along those lines. So she's contributed as a result of this in important ways to all of these, real life questions about strategic decision making and alliances and things like that. These are questions that are of deep concern to the field of strategy as practice. But her answers have also made all of these wonderful theoretical contributions in the field of politics, heuristics, theories of improvisation, and other things like that. So not only has she been solving problems, but as she's solving problems, she's contributing to theory in ways that is refreshing and new. And in the ways that Kathy described it, doing these counterintuitive things, being able to highlight for us what is counterintuitive. And what's so neat about then how she has accomplished her career is that not only is she solving these important problems and then contributing to academia and writing the HBRs and smart management reviews and things like that, but she's also working with the companies, sitting on the boards of many important organizations, as well as the Clinton Global Initiative and other places. So her work is recognized in the world of real people as being important, and they want to have her advice. So it's this cycle of continuous care that leads to the research that leads to her ability to contribute. Now, what about her connection to strategy as practice? A lot of strategy as practice scholars take a practice lens. And so they say, well, Kathy Eisenhardt's work, the comparative case study type of style, is not necessarily taking a practice lens. And Kathy and I have talked about this. She's an avowed, positivist in most cases. And if you look at her work, you can very much see that in the way that she structures her argument. But strategy as practice really does accommodate people who care about the practices of managers, and taking a practice lens, which is something that I do more, is not the only way to approach this domain. And so when you actually pick apart her work, as I regularly do as I try to learn to construct my own arguments better, you see, for example, in the paper she wrote with Shona Brown, The Art of Continuous Change, she actually looks at a whole set of practices that managers use in order to project into the future, and goes into detail about how they use experimental products, or how they work with futurists, or how they use alliances to gain insight. So she's laying out a whole bunch of practices, but she doesn't necessarily code herself as strategy as practice, although now we can, because we've had this session and we know how to bring Kathy into the book. So I would say that that's incredibly important. And then from a methodological standpoint, and very much consistent with Anne's comments, she has opened up the possibility for qualitative research in the field of strategy. And I could not do what I do, absolutely. Even though I don't do comparative case study method, the very fact that someone, people who don't understand qualitative just put us all in a bucket, and thank goodness, because that means that I'm also following in the footsteps of the work of Kathy, and that has made, strategies practice is not entirely qualitative research, but it is more dominated by qualitative research, and this field actually, this interest group would not exist without the precedent that Kathy has set. And we still live in this world where quantitative research really dominates in strategy research, and so her impact in exactly the ways that Anne unfolded is incredibly important. And I would also say Kathy is a rhetorical genius. You must pick apart her papers paragraph by paragraph and see how she does it. For example, in that Art of Continuous Change paper, you know how at the end of an introduction to a paper, everyone says, in the next section I do X, and then in the following section I do Y, and then the most boring paragraph in the entire paper? Read that paragraph of her paper. It is a fascinating paragraph, because while telling us what she's going to be doing in the paper, she's also telling us what's counterintuitive, what's interesting, how the method is going to unfold the answer. It is a brilliant paragraph. She's a rhetorical genius, and I routinely go back and try to just write my paragraphs exactly the way that she does it. She also, in using the case study method, and recognizes that she's speaking to a quantitative world, constructs tables that look mysteriously like regression tables, only with words in them. And it's brilliant, because all those quant people look at it and they're like, it's a table, there's a dependent variable, there's some independent variables. I kind of get it. It's not numbers, but it's words, but it fits in some space in my brain that other kind of research doesn't fit in. And so I think one of the ways she has gotten so much adoption is that she has been able to speak to the quantitative world in a way that others have not. And she highlighted the counterintuitive, and I'm glad she did, because I think she is so wonderful at telling us in each paper what is counterintuitive about the finding, either from just from a reality standpoint or from a theoretical standpoint. And I so appreciate that, and I learned so much from the way that she crafts her papers. I want to diverge a little bit in my final comment about Kathy, away from strategies practice and towards a broader idea of the way that she's contributed. I don't know if you have noticed, but women are still scarce in the halls of the world of business and the world of business schools. If you look at most business schools, they won't even report the percent of their female faculty tenure stream, because the number will be too low. They'll report sometimes the number of tenure stream and non-tenure stream faculty, and the best schools have something like 25%. And many schools have much less. It's better than when Kathy started, but it is partly better because Kathy started. Even in the Academy of Management, our membership is only 38% women, and that's up from 10 years ago when it was 30% women. So if you go back to this set of accomplishments that Tommy and Anne and I have cataloged about Kathy, and you think that she was doing that in the face of all of the barriers that women can face in this field, it's, to me, even more extraordinary. She is incredibly generous, as you saw, mentor of other people, role model, for me personally, mentor to me personally, and I just think that the Academy is better in so many ways beyond her specific intellectual contributions because she was there as a role model and as a person that we could all look to see what we could accomplish in our careers. So on that note, I think I would just like to say that for all these reasons, it's fitting that Strategy as Practice has recognized Kathy's contributions, and I want to say again, congratulations. So thank you.